This is a fake one-sided rivalry. We got Angel Reese taking more shots at Caitlin Clark unnecessarily. You in Indiana having a great time partying. We see all the clips. Why can't you just do?
So let me get this straight. Caitlin Clark falls down with a groin injury. The entire All-Star weekend falls apart. Ticket prices plummet, people cancel travels. And in the middle of all that, Angel Reese rolls into Indiana with a Reebok billboard screaming, "I'm in your city." Like what? She tried to take over a weekend that wasn't even about her, and it backfired spectacularly. Let's speak about how Angel Reese just disgraced herself trying to outshine a player who wasn't even playing. And spoiler alert, the numbers, the crowd, and the fans, they weren't feeling it either. Let's break it down.
Angel Reese is saying they got a win in a packed arena that clearly was not packed since thousands of seats were empty. And they were able to win one on the road as a team without the added benefit, without the competitive advantage of private airfare. Basically, Caitlin Clark is pampered and we're still winning, even though we are treated like WNBA players instead of being treated like professional athletes.
All right, let's start with the obvious. This whole competition between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, it's false. It's made up. One-sided. Clark's not beefing with anyone. She's hooping. She's showing up, breaking records and getting buckets. Meanwhile, Angel, she's making noise. Constantly called dropping Caitlin on podcasts, in interviews, in every campaign rollout like it's a prerequisite. You ever notice that Caitlin never talks about Angel unless she's defending her? And even then it's respectful. But Angel, she's exploiting the drama like it's her personal publicity machine. Now she's out here pulling billboards, pushing messages like, "I'm in your city." Like, she truly took over Indiana. Sis, you've never even won a pro game there. Not one. How are you going to take over a city where the fans don't even turn up for you? This ain't a rivalry, that it's Angel throwing punches at a ghost while Clark's in the locker room nursing an injury. Real ones see through it. And trust me, the fans are growing tired of the act. When Caitlin Clark got ruled out with her groin injury, it didn't only impact Indiana Fever supporters. It hit the whole league. This wasn't simply a tiny scratch. She was slated to headline the three-point contest and the All-Star game in front of her home supporters. The whole weekend was built around her. Flights planned, lodgings sold out, eateries preparing for craziness-level crowds. ESPN ? Pushing promos like this was the Super Bowl of women's hoops. Then she's out, and the air went out of the building before the weekend even started. It's not just about Clark sitting. It's about everything she brings. Buzz, eyeballs, revenue, excitement. Now imagine seeing all that come apart and thinking, you know what would be fantastic right now? A shoe launch. Angel Reese really looked at that moment and said, "My time to shine." While Caitlin's recovering in silence, Angel's posing for photos in Clark City like she just dethroned her, but the fans weren't buying it because the truth is without Clark, nobody cared about the others. And Angel Reese, she was standing under a spotlight that didn't exist anymore. If you ever want to know who really matters in this league, follow the money. Before Caitlin's injury, All-Star Weekend tickets were averaging $121. Some even hit $260 on resale. That's historic for the W. It was going to be the most costly All-Star event ever. Then Clark pulled out and bang, ticket prices plunged 48% overnight. You hear that? 48%. That's not a coincidence. That's proof. Clark isn't only part of the show. She is the show. Reese hoped her Reebok moment would pick up the slack, but it didn't even make a dent. The demand vanished. Sponsors went quiet. Fans started reselling tickets like hot potatoes. So, while Angel was writing, "I'm in your city," with 15 admirers in the backdrop, the rest of us were watching an empty stage wondering why the major act was missing. You can't fake celebrity power, and you definitely can't replace Caitlin Clark with Instagram postings and catchphrases. Reese didn't rise to the occasion. She just reminded everyone who actually sells out arenas. And spoiler, it's not her. Okay, we need to talk about the billboard. Angel Reese rolled into Indianapolis, put up this enormous Reebok ad that proclaimed, "I'm in your city. Walk in your trap, take over your trap," like she was conquering enemy territory. Except the enemy wasn't even playing. Clark's injured. She's sitting out. And Reese is out here behaving like she just beat her in game 7 of the finals. What are we doing? It's giving delusions. That billboard might have looked fantastic in Photoshop, but in real life, the streets were empty. The buzz was dead, and the only people watching were either confused or wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys. This isn't a takeover, this is cosplay. You can't call it your city when you've never won a game there. You can't take over a trap that's already closed for renovation. That's like throwing a parade for yourself when everyone's watching someone else on TV. Reese tried to flip the script, but nobody turned the page with her. The timing terrible. The vibe office. The outcomes. A public L. Let's move on. Now, you already know social media doesn't miss. As soon as the Reebok stunt reached the timeline, fans broke free. Remark after remark said what we were all thinking. This is embarrassing. She's trying too hard. Clark's not even playing. Why is Reese acting like she just won a title? It became so terrible, people started roasting the amount of fans at the launch. Some said you couldn't even fill a Starbucks with that crowd. And let's be honest, they weren't wrong. Reese wanted headlines. She got them, just not the sort you desire. The problem isn't the marketing, it's the moment. You don't try to make a statement in a city that's still mourning the fact that their favorite player isn't suiting up. That's not a statement, that's tone deaf. You know what this looked like? Somebody showing up to an empty gym saying, "I run this," while the lights are off and the fans are gone. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark didn't say a word, didn't subtweet, didn't take a shot. She was just recovering, being quiet, and still controlled the conversation. That stillness way louder than any billboard any. This is when the difference truly shows. Caitlin Clark steps on the court and lets her game speak. 31 points, 12 assists, smashing records, making history. She doesn't need to inform you she runs the city. She just drops 30 and shows you. Meanwhile, Angel Reese, she's having photo ops. She's producing podcast episodes on the rivalry. She's yelling, "This is my city," but can't back it up with genuine wins. That's the difference. Reese tries to play the villain, but forgets the bit where the villain has to truly challenge the hero. Clark has already cooked her. That's a fact. We saw it on the court, not in the comment section. You want to talk about rivalries? Let's talk about records. Let's talk wins. Let's talk stats. You know what Angel Reese's all-star highlight was? The billboard, Clark's, a stat line that nobody in the WNBA had ever done before. That's what this boils down to. Reese performs. Clark produces. And trust me, fans can tell the difference. Just when the weekend couldn't get more embarrassing, we get smacked with "pay us what you owe us" protest shirts. Now listen, I'm all with players seeking better compensation in travel conditions. It's overdue, but the timing couldn't have been worse. The league just lost its biggest draw. Ticket costs plummeted roughly 50%. The whole city was ready for a spectacular weekend that fizzled when Clark was hurt, and exactly when supporters are asking, is this even worth the money? The players came up asking for more. It felt off. It looked bad, especially for casual fans. They're not following the CBA discussions. They're just wondering why the person they came to watch isn't playing, and why the rest of the league is now demanding more money mid-disaster that IT made the league look ungrateful. And Angel Reese, who had already hijacked the spotlight, looked even more disconnected from the moment. If you're going to protest, do it when your star is healthy. When the lights are on, when fans are watching, not when the biggest ticket seller is out and the stands are half emptied. That's just horrible optics. Plain and simple. Let's just say it. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's in the WNBA right now. Every game she plays sells out. Every team she visits makes more money. TV ratings rise. Jersey sales go berserk. Cities turn into Meduse when she comes to town. And when she goes down, everything drops. Ticket prices, hotel bookings, local business revenue, you name it. That's not hype. That's cold, hard economics. The league's entire all-star arrangement was created around her. From promos to events to sponsorships. When she got hurt, the league tried to turn, but the crowd didn't follow. They weren't showing up for anyone else, not even Angel Reese, which leads us back to the billboard. You can't take over someone's city when they're the only reason the city even cares in the first place. That's like claiming you control the stage after the headliner cancels and half the audience goes home. Angel Reese had an opportunity to rise up and become the name. Instead, she used it to talk about Clark again. Even in absence, Caitlin Clark was the main event. Let's keep it real. This rivalry is a little melancholy now. Caitlin Clark is committed on winning games, creating relationships with her teammates, and making the playoffs. Angel Reese is out here trying to garner attention with every off-court maneuver conceivable. It's not a rivalry when only one individual is participating. Reese posts a quote. Clark stays quiet. Reese rolls out a campaign. Clark drops a triple-double. Reese says, "This is my city." Clark says nothing and yet receives the love. It's giving obsessed. And here's the part that makes it worse. Angel needs this rivalry. It's how she gets clicks, headlines, attention, deals. She benefits. She profits. She grows from it. But Clark, she doesn't even interact. She keeps winning. She keeps selling out games. She stays the face of the league. That's why it's embarrassing now. Reese keeps prodding the bear. And Clark just walks away with a trophy in her hand. At some point, you need to ask yourself, if the other person's not responding, is it truly a rivalry or just a one-person PR tour? Here's the bottom line. Angel Reese had a fantastic opportunity. Caitlin Clark was out. The spotlight was wide open. The league needs someone to stand up and carry the weekend. And what did Reese do? She launched a showy campaign with no substance. Claimed a city she's never won in. Tried to create hype and was clowned for it. It didn't work. Fans weren't fooled. Clark wasn't playing. And Reese still got overshadowed by her absence. Think about that. An injured player outshined a completely healthy one just by not being present. And that billboard, that wasn't a takeover. That was a public L wrapped in a Reebok logo. The truth is, you can't outshine someone who never required the lights in the first place. Caitlin Clark is the show. Angel Reese is simply trying to be part of it. Until Reese can win games, dominate on the floor, and move the needle without Clark in the picture, this whole rivalry chatter is simply noise. So yeah, Angel embarrassed herself this weekend. And the worst part, Caitlin didn't even have to do a thing.